What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Niche Notable podcast. I know it's been a while. We took a little bit of break for my senior season, but we're back, season two, Niche Notable. We got a huge guest today. We got current senior All-American, All-SEC golfer from Ole Miss, Tom Fischer. Tom, what's going on, man? Welcome to the pod.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Happy to be here.
I appreciate it. So let's take things way back. What's your origin story with golf? When did you start playing?
Yeah, I started playing when I was really young. My dad grew up playing. His dad played, so it kind of ran in the family a little bit. I've got two older brothers. My dad kind of pushed them to both kind of try and play, and always had them out at the golf course, and neither of them picked it up. And he kind of let me do my thing, and I ended up being the one that fell in love with it. So yeah, I've been playing since I was really little.
There you go. Did you play any other sports growing up, or was it only golf?
Yeah, I grew up playing basketball. I've always been a little bit taller, so I gravitated a little bit towards basketball. My oldest brother played also, so I played up until seventh grade, and actually missed that. We had a good basketball program, and with where I went to high school and everything, and I missed the team in seventh or eighth grade, so started to focus on golf then.
So that was when you started just pick it up like pretty much full time and got
Yeah,
pretty good.
yeah, that's kind of when I dove into like really playing, traveling a bunch of tournaments, and kind of getting real deep into it for sure.
I gotcha. And I don't really know about the recruiting process for golf too much. Did you play for your high school team or was it more like individual tournaments on the side?
Yeah, I played for our high school team, but honestly, like the when it comes to college recruiting stuff, like that's more going to be individual events like over the summer, and like you can play them throughout the school year, but like the big ones are normally throughout the summer, and that's kind of how you get recruited. The high school events are good, but they're more local, and at in general a little bit easier golf courses, and the fields aren't quite as strong, so you get most of the college coaches come out to like the big events that are individual throughout the summer and everything. So
I gotcha. And then for golf, is it like September 1st, your junior year? That's when you can first start contacting coaches and whatnot?
yeah, it was weird. It was somewhere around there. It was, I think maybe June 15th, you could start talking to them, and then you could start going on visits sometime around then. But it was weird my year with like all the COVID stuff. So like I basically could talk to coaches, but wasn't able to visit for a while because they were in a little bit of like like a shutdown with the COVID stuff. So it was a little bit of a mess. I kind of lucked out on it a little bit. I played really good late the summer going into my senior year. And since like the COVID thing had pushed everything back, it actually helped me have some more options. Because normally a lot of spots would have been taken up. So I kind of lucked out with that whole deal. But so for me, it was pushed back a little bit later. Like I committed to Ole Miss right before my senior year of high school. So like I think August of going into my senior year.
I gotcha. Yeah, from what I know, like SEC golf is the best of the best. Like what made Ole Miss stand out from the other schools that were taking a look at you?
Yeah, I visited a bunch of schools. Honestly, didn't really know what I was looking for too much. So I visited a little bit of everything. I visited some smaller schools. I visited some mid majors, and then visited an SEC school or two. And like I knew SEC golf was kind of as good as it got. So that was obviously a goal of mine. I wanted to stay in the Southeast in general. That's where you get most of the good schools, just because the weather's better like year round. So that was a priority, and I visited a couple of places and kind of looked around and learned what I liked and didn't like. And then there was actually an assistant coach that moved from UAB to Ole Miss, and I'm from Birmingham, so UAB was local to me. So he had watched me a bunch and everything, so that helped me get the connection to Ole Miss a little bit. And so it kind of worked out. But Ole Miss was just like, I mean, when I visited, the coaching staff was great, and the program had been like the last 10 or 15 years, the program's just gotten better each year. So it's like been trending in the right direction. So that was a big thing for me.
Yeah, I got you. I saw last year, I think as a team, you guys made it to the Final Four, something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And I
Yep.
think one of the matches, maybe in the quarterfinals, might have came down to you. Is that true?
Yeah, we played Arizona State in the quarterfinals. So it's 4 rounds of stroke play with like 30 teams, and then it cuts to eight. So we made that. We were actually the eight seed. We got in right on the number, and played the one seed Arizona State. And yeah, that one, the quarterfinals match came down to, it was 2-2, and I was the last match out there, so that was a lot of fun.
That's awesome. When did you find out that it was coming down to you? Like, what hole were you on?
So we started on 10, I believe. So we started on the back there, but when I was on like there's kind of some screens out there and some leaderboards to where you can kind of get a feel every couple of holes and stuff. And I think I was on maybe start of my back nine, so early, like one, two, three, and I saw that we were down, I think 3-2 because I was down in my match, and then there was maybe one match that was close, and so I figured me or the other guy needed to flip a match to swing it our way. And I saw he was playing in front of me, and I saw their match end, and I knew he didn't win
Yeah.
because he was down, and they got closed out on like probably seven. And so I was like, all right, well, like I got to flip my match. I knew at that point it'd come down to me the last 3 or 4 holes probably.
And did you feel like the nerves like come onto you a little bit, or how were you able to like deal with those emotions towards the end?
Yeah, it was definitely nerve-wracking, like, definitely weird with, like, the rest of my team's season being on the line, not just, like,
Yeah.
mine. That was definitely different kind of pressure, but it's kinda one of those things that, like, when I was out there in it, like, you're kinda so focused and stuff, like, it becomes beating that one guy, and it's not as much, like, all the all the stuff that like,
Right.
the surrounding stuff. Like, I didn't really sit there and think about, like, if I lose this match, our season's done, like, it's not like that, it was more like just kinda trying to put the pressure on him, and I felt like I was
Yeah.
kinda climbing back in it and had a decent bit of the momentum, so I was in a good position with that, but I didn't think about it too much till after. I actually watched, like, the rerun on TV, like, a couple weeks later, and I was more nervous watching it back on rerun than I was when I was out there playing.
I got you. That's awesome. And what was it
Yeah.
like watching Michael Lassasa win the individual national championship? Was that pretty cool?
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, I think it's super big for the program as a whole. I mean, we had a men's individual winner a couple years ago, maybe I don't know what year it was, probably like 10 years ago-ish. Braden Thornberry won, and he's still around the program a little bit. He comes back to Oxford a little bit, but it was super cool to see somebody do it that you're on the team with and that you practice with every day. I mean, it's definitely motivating. Like you know that like Michael's a super good player, but we play with him all the time, and it's like you know what um, where his game is, and you kind of compare your own to that because you know, I mean, he's one of the best college players there is, won a national championship.
Yeah, for sure. And then I saw in the SEC tournament, I think you shot a 63 on the final day. Were you just feeling it that day? Or what was going on?
Yeah, that place was, we play SECs there every year down in, St. Simons, Georgia. Place is awesome. We struggled last year a little bit. It's so you play 3 rounds, and then it cuts to 8 to do match play, kinda like, the national championship does, and so, we were outside the bubble looking in, and so it was kinda one of those deals where, like, I was looking at the leaderboard and honestly was just focused on trying to get the team into that top 8. And so kind of ended up adding it up at the end of the round, and it was a super low one, but it was definitely focused on trying to help the guys get in that top 8.
I gotcha. Yeah, as like an amateur golfer myself, like I'm constantly checking the score as you go on. But like for you, you said like you didn't really realize the score until after you finished. What's your process? Like after holes, are you calculating it in your head, or are you just going as the match and the course goes along?
Yeah, I think it depends. Like if you get out there in like a first round and you're kind of just trying to shoot, it kind of depends on the course you're playing. Like you're playing somewhere tough and like you can get out there and that's probably when it's a little bit harder to not start counting and adding it up when you're playing good if you get to 4, 5, 6 under on a super tough course. But like nowadays it's just so common that like we'll play a tournament and for 3 rounds, like you got to get to anywhere from 10 to 15 under to have a shot to win individually. So even if you get to 7 under on one round, like you still got more birdies to make, you know. So it's kind of just trying to push that bar and push that limit of where that number is. But it's definitely a little bit of a learning curve. Like I mean, I think that's something I've gotten definitely a little bit better with. But like I would say 5 years ago in high school, you get to 4 or 5 under and you start to think about it more. But just getting there a little bit more and then maybe some bigger events and starting to realize what you need to do to win, it definitely it changes that mindset a little bit.
I got you. Just like stacking holes and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So moving on. So nowadays in golf, like the YouTube golf world has really took on a life of its own. Like, are you familiar with the YouTube golf space?
Yes, I don't watch a ton of the YouTube golf just because for me, like, when I'm not practicing or playing, I kinda like to get away from it a little bit, but it's hard to not see a lot of the clips on Instagram or TikTok or whatever it is, so,
Yeah. So outside of golf, like what are some things to in your free time that you like to do?
I kinda like to the last year or 2, I've gotten big into, like I got a Blackstone and love to cook some,
There you go.
that's fun, especially if it's not freezing cold outside and can get out there and grill something, but no, I kinda just like to unplug from golf. It's nice to get away from it, here and there when I can. I think it's can get you in a little bit of trouble, or at least me personally, if I sit there and think about it too much at home. I think it's when I'm at
Mm,
the golf course, I try and like to have 100% of my focus there, and when I'm not at the golf course, have a not much focus on the golf side of things at all. So,
I got you. What's your go-to on the Blackstone?
I mean, I'm pretty basic, but I love just making a good steak on there, doing like some chicken and ground beef and making tacos or something.
There you go. That's awesome.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
So moving on. So following your senior season, are you gonna turn pro and then do you follow into like the Q school? Like how does that stuff sort of
Yeah,
work?
so there's this new thing in the last probably 5 to definitely in the last 5 to 10 years, but it's called PJ Tour University, and it's basically, it's a ranking system based off your junior and senior year of college golf, so, like, only college events count, like, the stuff over the summer doesn't count, nothing like that, so it's just the college events, but it's basically a ranking for all the seniors, and so it's kinda they made it to kinda encourage kids to stay in school all 4 years, I think. So it gives you different pathways. Like if you finish, I think the top guy gets a PJ Tour card, and then like the top 10 get Corn Ferry cards, and then the top 25 get PJ Tour Canada cards, and then and anywhere from 2 to 25, you're exempt through the first or the pre Q and first stage of Q school. So there's a couple of different routes. Like right now, kinda in that 15 to 20 range on PJ Tour U. Still have a bunch of college events left, obviously, with a whole spring season and postseason to go, so that can kinda swing in either direction. But yeah, after school, I'll see where I stack up on that whole deal, and then go from there. Like, there's a bunch of different ways to do it, but when it comes down to it, you just gotta play some pretty damn good golf.
Yeah, of course. What's your first tournament of the spring?
Our first one's in the middle of February down in Water Sound, down in the beach at the
There you
beach
go.
in Florida. Yeah, so that's gonna be a fun one.
Awesome. All right. So heading into our final question of the day, this is a niche and notable question. What's your dream golf foursome and which course would you want to play?
Oof, I'm trying to think. I mean, I think it's hard not to pick Augusta. I grew up in Alabama, so the Masters is always something that's been kind of a must watch for me and my family. We always pretty much watch the whole week. I've been lucky enough to go over there and watch the tournament a time or two, and so that's been. I mean, I think I'd have to say play Augusta National, and then with who? I mean, I got to put Tiger in there. I go Tiger. I'm gonna do. I love watching Joaquin Neiman play. That's kind of a little bit out of left
Yeah.
field, but I think he's fun to watch. So I'll go Tiger, Joaquin Neiman, and let me throw in. I'm probably supposed to say my dad, but maybe like Abraham Answer's fun to watch too. I grew up
There you go.
watching. That's
Answer
two guys
Neiman,
that
Woods, and
yeah, that's
Fisher.
2
That's
guys that
awesome.
probably people wouldn't have guessed, but, Abraham Answer's super fun to watch around the greens and stuff, and he's got some good little clips of him hitting shots out of bunkers and stuff that look pretty cool, so I'd have to maybe bring him along and get him to teach me a thing or 2.
There you go. That's awesome. That's a niche crew. All right,
Yeah,
man. Well, Tom, thanks for coming on the podcast. First episode of season two. We're excited to watch you this spring, and best of luck with everything.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
You got it.